Hello, and welcome to my literature review topic presentation for COMM 3321 Critical Reading and Writing course. The topic I've chosen for this presentation is specialization in education. My working thesis statement is that post-secondary institutions should offer more focused and specialized programs intended to provide students with the experience and education they need for their intended field of employment due to economic needs and increasing rewards for specialization. Some positive views associated with specialization in education include that it leads to more niche jobs, which increases an individual's job security. The more niche a skill set is, the more difficult it is to find or train someone else to do that job. This ties into the possibility of higher wages, which in turn leads to a healthier economy. A more specialized skill set offers the individual more bargaining power over their pay, and a more even distribution of wealth among the working class leads to a stronger economy. Employers also stand to benefit by having to spend less time and thus money training their employees. If these skills are learned in school, the individual can fulfill their role sooner and more efficiently. And finally, as modern technology develops, it demands more from its users to maintain and continue development. The sooner these demands can be met, the better suited society can be to make use of their associated technologies. Many of the cons relating to specialization are inherently arguments for the opposite, generalization. They include the opportunity for students who don't really know what kinds of employment they would like to explore their options. A greater variety in classes also offers students the opportunity to potentially discover a new passion or to stumble onto a different career path than what they had originally intended. From a similar point of view, generalization doesn't restrict students into a single career. For example, if someone's to go to school for underwater welding, it wouldn't really, those skills aren't particularly transferable to many other fields of work. Finally, a more general education can provide students with skills that, while they aren't directly related to their intended career, can still prove useful. Some issues that are associated with this subject are the requirements and needs or increasing specialization in employment. As more niche positions are created, so is the requirement for a steady influx of individuals to fill them. The offloading of training costs from the private sector to public is of concern as well, as it puts more pressure on the already strained budgets of public institutions. And finally, current curriculums struggle to emulate real-world scenarios that students will face in the workforce. Some of the theories from the text that could prove applicable include definitions of purpose. In this case, I am choosing to define education strictly as a precursor to employment and turning away from other reasons that individuals might seek education. Subjective claims must be argued in objective terms. In some of these cases, it is difficult to present a consolidated opinion due to the different circumstances of each individual. Who's speaking and what assumptions are being made, both of these factor into my personal biases of the subject, where I am seeking education strictly as a means to employment. And the assumption that I am making is that that is its primary function for most people. Next is bifurcation. In this case, I've presented only two sides to the argument. There isn't really a gradient in between them, when in reality there is definitely sort of a sliding scale or a gray area between them. And finally is financial security and belonging needs as part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. A lot of the arguments, the pros in particular, that are presented are done so appealing to individuals' need for financial security and belonging as part of sort of having their niche in society, their job that they can do to feel useful. Finally, the reasons that I chose this subject for my literature review are my personal past experiences and frustrations with post-secondary education, where I attended post-secondary in the past, and it did not provide me with the income and career opportunities that I'd hoped it would. My current situation with evolving my career in education, where I feel that a lot of the time I spend in my education isn't conducive to learning things that are necessarily useful or prepare me well for my current line of employment. And finally, I have an inherent belief that educational investment is important for society and individuals, and not just education for the sake of education, but education with tangible goals, with real consequences.